Hey everyone! So I am here in sunny Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I actually come here quite often. I think I come here like twice a year. And it's one of my most favorite places to come to. Actually, where I'm at right now, I wish I could show you, and I actually will show you in a moment. I will turn the camera around, but I love this place. Every time I come here, I feel very rejuvenated. I feel very connected to the earth. I feel like it's such, even though it's the desert, but it's not like sand and barren wasteland, anything like that. It's very much like red earth, and there's sage brushes everywhere. And the place that we stay at is this house on top of this hill, and the hill is essentially this big piece of crystal. So there's like quartz crystal everywhere. I think once I came here and I was collecting some of the quartz crystal, and I have a little basket at home to remind me of this place. But it's pretty amazing here. I love it. So I come here like a couple of times a year. I do plan on moving here at some point within the next couple of years. So I'm excited about that. But when I come here, I get to disconnect and detach and just feel very much at one with myself, with my higher self, with the universe, and all of that. While I've been here, I've been talking, I've been reading up on manifestational laws. And this is something that not a lot of people know about. This is something that is kind of tricky to talk about because unless you know what you're doing, unless you know what manifestational laws are or law of attraction is, you're going to get lost in all of that. So let me start from the beginning with this. Back in the mid-2000s, there was a show that Oprah did about this book and this film, this DVD called The Secret. And if you have not heard of The Secret, you should look into it because I think it would help you to put some things into perspective. And the film essentially was kind of this self-help, like energy transformation, kind of inspirational film. Now you can find it anywhere. You can go to Target. You can find it at Walmart. It's on Netflix. All of that stuff. And you should look into it. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely look into it. But the film was, after Oprah featured it in the States, it was everywhere. And essentially, what The Secret is, it's this film about a bunch of people who they're all spiritual teachers. They have their own little niche. And what they do is they teach you about connecting with your energy, transforming the energy in your lives, and then watching your life unfold and change as you shift around the energy within yourself. So, we in like the everyday folks, right? We think that if we do something and we get the result is what we're wanting. So we have to do something to get the result. And so that's why we go and we get these try to get great jobs, we try to have more money, we try to get good relationships, because we think by the having of something that we are going to be happy, and by the having of something, we have to do something to have something. That's our mindset. Like we have to do some action or something, or we have to be lucky in order for us to have the things that we want in life. That's kind of the gist of what we've been doing, most people have been doing. And The Secret twists that upside down and essentially says, well, it's not about you going to do anything to get something. It's about you changing yourself and those things being drawn to you, those things actually coming towards you and seeking you out. So you don't have to go out there and do all these things. You just have to make some changes within yourself. These things will be coming towards you. They will come to you. And when I first heard this, I thought, well, this sounds interesting. And some of this resonated with me. I felt very connected to some of the information. So I thought to myself, well, this is an interesting idea. It didn't feel like an old idea, but it does feel like an interesting idea. And it talks about each category, the film. It talks about like money, it talks about relationships, it talks about health. And it uses all these stories for people who have experienced this phenomenon and what they did to help them get to where they needed to get to. After I saw that, I did see the film. I watched The Secret film because of Oprah, and it changed my life. It absolutely did change my life. So I began to do what most people began to do, which was essentially, if you change your thoughts or you try to focus on certain things and you become obsessive about those things, then all of a sudden they come into your life. And in the beginning, when you learn about The Secret or manifestational law, you may have some success thinking about things, but not on the level that I've had since then, because I've learned to do other things to help me get closer to what it is that I'm trying to accomplish for myself. So I understood it, I got it, I didn't really practice it for a while. I read other books. After The Secret, I read The Law of Attraction, The Teachings of The Teachings of Abraham by Jerry and Esther Hicks, and that's kind of a follow-up to The Secret. And really, Esther Hicks was in the original Secret film, and then they had some disagreement about what they were trying to put out there, and Jerry and Esther felt there was more information that needed to be discussed, and the editors or the producers of the film didn't really agree with that. They wanted to keep it simple. They both had good reasons for wanting to do what they wanted to do, but either way, they kind of, Esther didn't show up in the second version of the film, which is now what they sell in stores and such. So, back to The Secret. So, I learned about it. Law of Attraction. I didn't really use it for the first few years of my life when I learned about it. And then I hit rock bottom in my life. I had just come out of a horrible relationship, and I had nothing. I walked away from that apartment, from that relationship, with nothing, and I moved in with my mom. At that time, she lived in this 1-bedroom apartment, and she didn't even have furniture in her living room. So I was camping out in her living room floor. All I had was my laptop, my few books that I had, and my clothes, a few boxes that I had packed up, and then I was kind of cornered with some blankets and my covers and pillows and such. So I was sleeping on the floor. So that was an interesting time for me, because I literally just walked away from a relationship, and I felt as if I wasted time, and I felt as if I was a complete failure, and I didn't even know how to cope at that point. And I was in so much pain that all I could think about was, how do I feel better? How do I feel better? How do I feel better? And in that time, I really have nothing else to do except go to work, and that's it. And I was still working at Starbucks at that point. I was just a ship supervisor, so I really wasn't doing. Actually, I had just been promoted to a store manager, so that was interesting. But I didn't have anything going on for myself except work. So I camped out, did a lot of thinking, and I had this conversation with God, right? For me, God is the universe. God is, my higher spirit, the higher part of ourselves. That's God for me. So I said, okay, God, this is totally effed up. I don't really like how things have turned out. I want things to change. So everything that I've learned, I'm going to put it to practice, because I want change. And in order for me to change things, in order for me to see change, I have to actually put in the effort, put in the work. And so I went back over, I revisited all of that stuff, I rewatched The Secret, I reread some of the Abraham Hicks books, and I began to understand it on a whole different level. And it basically talks about shifting your state of mind, state of being. And The Secret focused more on thoughts. Thoughts become things, or what you think about really helps you to get to, closer to what you're trying to accomplish, but it's more pulling that towards you. So I did the whole thinking route, and what I came to realize later on is that it really isn't so much about thinking, it's about feeling. Like, you have to feel your way through life if you want to see the things that mean something to you. So if you want to, for example, have a really great job, it's not just about being positive and about wishing that you're going to get a new job or a better job. You actually have to feel what it's like to have that job, like now. So you have to put yourself in a state of being, in a state of mind where you already have these things, where you're really already living from the end. So you don't think about how it's going to happen. You don't think about what you need to do. You simply start to connect with the emotions associated with those experiences. So people who walk around in life who don't have money, they were like, oh, I want more money, I want to be rich, I want to be, they watch The Secret. The first thing people want to do when they watch The Secret is, I want to be a millionaire. Well, okay, so they start thinking about being a millionaire, they start thinking about spending all the money and stuff. Well, first of all, they don't, if you actually know real millionaires, they're very different people. They live their lives very differently. They think very differently about money. When they spend money on a bill, they don't obsess and freak out over, I just spent $150 on this water bill. Like, oh my God. They don't think that way. They just pay the bill because they know they've got it. They know it's coming, more is coming. They're not worried about those kinds of things. So if you're going about your day worrying about every single dollar that you spend or every single thing that you're doing that is costing you money, then it is, it is going to affect you because it's causing you to feel broke. It's causing you to feel poor. It's causing you to have that mentality, that welfare mentality. And so you're never going to align with a state of financial abundance, because energetically you're not there. You're not at a place. And people who just go and happen to win the lottery, who were poor, statistically, about, I think, over 70% of them end up back being poor after the fact. I just heard a story the other day with this woman, Cynthia Stanford, and it was an interesting story. She was at a really low point in her life, and she really wanted to win the lottery through law of attraction. So she really spent a long time, and I do mean a long time. Like, don't go watch The Secret and think you're going to win the lottery in like 5 days. Not going to happen. Usually it takes years, because you have to energetically align with the experience happening. She spent years, like, focusing on winning the lottery. What was interesting is she did not spend years focusing on having financial abundance and knowing how to handle that, knowing how to deal with her finances. She just spent her energy and her time focusing on winning the lottery. And I think she just filed for bankruptcy this year. So it's kind of sad, because she won a hell of a lot of money. I think it's like $113 million. But after taxes, you're only getting actually like 70 million, which still is a lot of money. But then, of course, she had a whole family to sustain and support and all that. So, but that's an example of, wanting abundance in your life, using energy to align with those experiences, and then not being prepared for when you receive those experiences. Back to my story, because I've totally got on a tangent about money and stuff. So I began to work on my energy, my state of mind. I did more thinking about it than I did feeling at that time. But even then, within a course of a year, the course of 1 year, this is what happened to me. So a few weeks later, after, so what I would do is I would get up and I would just pretend like that whole dramatic, horrible experience with my ex never happened. And so what I did was like say, you know what? Thank him for what he awoke within me, because he made me want to be in a relationship. He made me want to have a home with someone. He made me want to share my life with someone in various ways. And in the ways that he was deficient and defective in accomplishing his part of the deal, it made me desire and long for that. So I still wanted those things, regardless of whether he was in the picture or not. I still wanted I still wanted a relationship. So I began to focus on and that's why I talk about this book so much whenever I deal with clients sometimes, is this book called The Soulmate Secret, because it's based off of the same principles as The Secret, but it's about relationships and focuses on relationships. So I had spent time and energy focusing on relationships and trying to manifest the right kind of relationship in my life. And so all that time that I had just sitting there with in my brain, watching these things, reading, and then starting to put into practice, within the course of a year, I met my partner, my current partner, and hopefully in a few years after this video gets old, we're still together, but I met my current partner, and it's going fine, it's going well. It's been about 9 years now. So I met him a few weeks after my ex and I split. I wasn't really trying to force anything. We just kind of encountered each other. We met each other, and I asked him out, which was something different that I don't normally do. I normally wait for guys to ask me out, because I'm like, well, let's see if they're interested in me, and my way of protecting myself so that I know that they want to be with me, or one is for me to wait for them to ask me. I was like, screw this. I know what I want. This guy is attractive. I really like him. I'm going to ask him out. And he said yes. So we went out, and we started we became a couple. So I got into a serious relationship within the first few weeks after my last relationship ended. And some people say, well, you shouldn't get into a relationship so quickly after a major relationship ends. No, that's not true. That's not the case. You really have to go by case by case basis, because I know a lot of people who have gotten into relationships after a really disastrous one, and they actually help to heal each other from past experiences and past wounds. So my relationship changed. I got into a healthier relationship. I was promoted again at work, so I was making more money. I had the opportunity to buy a new vehicle, so I actually bought a new car that year. I was making more money than I've ever made in my life at that time at Starbucks. And on top of that, towards the end of the year, all the debt that I'd accumulated with that previous relationship, all of a sudden, I was offered the opportunity, and I'm not going to give you details, but I was offered the opportunity to pay that off and to put money down on a home. And once I put the money down on a home, I would just simply pay that back with my income tax, because at that time the government was giving out like a $10,000 incentive for people who bought new homes. So I was able to pay off my debt and put a down payment on a home, and then I was able to pay that back. So it was kind of a loan or borrowing money. But I was offered the opportunity. I mean, how often do you get someone saying, "Hey, I know that you're trying to do this. Here's some money. Go pay off your debt and buy this house. And then when you get your money back from your income tax, just give that back to me." Like, how often does that happen? So all these things began to occur in my life, and within a year, I was in a new relationship. A great relationship, actually. It's still a great relationship. I was in my own home, my first home. In the first time in my life, I had my own home. We didn't even have a home when I was growing up. Like, we moved around all the time. So this is the first time in my life that I've ever had like a solid, stable home. And not only that, it was a home that I'd wanted, that I desired for. It wasn't just some home that I settled for. So it was a gorgeous house. So I got a home, bought a car, a new car. I wasn't drowning in debt, and also work was going very well. So all these things happened within the course of 1 year. And at the end of that year, to be grateful, I bought my mom a living room furniture set, because I told her, you know what, no one else should ever have to like sleep on your floor. So here's a brand new living room furniture set. Enjoy, So I was able to do all these things at the end of that year, and all of that within a year, because I began to practice shifting my energy and working towards a better version and a vision for myself. I have come a long way since then. I actually understand manifestational law a lot better, but those were my first attempts at putting into practice, shifting your energy, aligning with better options and better opportunities in your life, and then seeing the results of that. And that was amazing. And I think a lot has happened since then that I want to talk about on a later video. But law of attraction works. It really does work. But you have to, it's not about thinking positively. It's not, let me break it down for you. Law of attraction, it's not about to align with a better version of yourself, of who. If you are watching this video and you're like, I want a better life because my life sucks, stop right this minute, because the moment you acknowledge that, you're already putting out into the universe that your life sucks, and you know this. The fact that you're doing that, you're sending out waves of energy that are telling the universe that your life sucks. So the universe is only going to reflect back like what it is that you're putting out. And right now you're reflecting out like, my life sucks, I want a better life, I want a better this, I want a better that. You're acknowledging that your life isn't good and the things that you have suck. So stop that right this minute. We don't want you to look at your life and how it sucks. I don't want you to do that. What I would suggest you do is take a look at your life and look at what you would like to experience, what you would like to have an experience with in your life. Don't think so much about the physical things, because the physical things are only going to make you happy for so long, and you will still get the physical things. So don't worry so much about the physical things. I just want you to worry or focus more on the things in life that you would like to experience. Like, don't say, oh, I want a new car. Don't do that. Instead, say, I would like to feel what it's like to have a new car and not have to worry about it breaking down. Like, I would like to feel what that's like. So that's what we want to focus on, right? That's what we're connecting you with. So in order for you to align with the better version of yourself, you have to do 3 things. You have to think about the things you would like to see yourself experience in your life. You have to think about them. It's not wishful thinking. It's more about like actually like thinking about those things. And then you have to feel what it's like to have those experiences. And you're like, how can I know what it feels like to have a new car if I've never had a new car before? That's what you need to reach for, because in the reaching for that feeling and the reaching for those emotions, you're actually expanding your creation, you're expanding your soul, your spirit, you're expanding that energy out beyond its current limits. And you're in a box right now, the box of your life, the story that you've been telling yourself. So if you want more, you have to expand outwards into more. You have to grow, you have to expand. So you have to reach for those feelings and have an idea what it could feel like. So if you need to go to a dealership, don't go to the most expensive dealership, because you'll probably feel like crap if you walk up to a salesperson and they look you up and down and are like, you're poor, you can't afford this vehicle. Go to like just a general dealership and try to drive around, ask to drive some of the newer cars, or check out some of the newer cars just for fun. You're not buying anything, just for fun. Look up what it's like to, when you get a new vehicle, what it's like to have to go and pay the taxes, or what it's like to go and check your tires, or whatever. Like all those little details, read about it, read people's experiences with new vehicles, look at videos of new vehicles, go and test drive them. It's not about you seeing that and then being hard on yourself or getting mad at yourself because you wanted a new vehicle and you still don't have one and you're just wishfully thinking. No, like feel what it's like and reach for those feelings, and do not tell yourself that it's not real, because the moment you tell yourself that, you're bringing your energy back in and you're getting small again. So just connect with those emotions, those feelings. The last thing to do is action. So, like going to a dealership and driving around in a newer vehicle, that's the action part. Buying like small little things, like, oh, well, my new vehicle, I want to make sure that I have the right leather wipes. Whatever, if you want leather, go buy the leather wipes. It's going to cost you $5, $6, but at least you have that, and start to collect the little things you would like in your vehicle. So you want to make sure that you start to act out in the emotional and the thought process as well. So that's thoughts, emotions, and actions. All of those have to align with what you're trying to create, because you can think positively and then you can feel absolutely horrible, and then on top of that you can go and act out in feeling horrible. You're just sending out mixed signals. You have to align with the experience. If you begin to do this and you have a moment where you get down or you get angry because you feel like you're trying to reach for this and it's not turning into that, like you have these, you decide you're going to do this, you get into your car that day and it breaks down, do not really fully acknowledge the extent of a breakdown. If it breaks down, just say, this is the rental that I'm driving, and I mean, you have to like get delusional about what you're doing. So this is the rental that I'm driving. Obviously this rental is kind of a cheaper model and they must have not been taking care of it at the rental place. So I'm just going to have to, put a little money in to getting this fixed before I return it, because I don't want them to think that give yourself a story, made up story, to make you think about the car in a different way, and don't assume that it's your vehicle anymore. Like completely detach yourself from the vehicle. Now, I'm going to tell you this. If you're wishing for a new vehicle, be very specific. Say, I would like to have the experience of having a new vehicle and not have to worry about the trauma of like a wreck or anything like that. Like, I would like to trade in my vehicle, and see yourself trading in your vehicle and it being still the shape that it is in now. Because sometimes you could wish for a new vehicle and then you go and get in a wreck or it floods or something and you have to go through the whole traumatic experience. But you don't want that. So just, use that. So I'm using buying a new vehicle as an opportunity for you to have that experience, but I don't want you to get stuck on physical things, because this is not about physical things. The physical things will come. This is more about changing your energy and aligning with the better version of yourself. See yourself in a very different way. The first level of this, everybody wants to do something physical. They want physical things because they equate their success or their value with the physical things they have in their lives. Physical things do not equate to your value. They do not equate to to who you are and what you're about. They're just things. So if you focus on thinking of yourself in a more positive light, feeling like you have money, get like $20, get them changed out to like $1 bills, and then keep that in your vehicle. And then just anytime you have an opportunity to hand it out to a homeless person, then do it. Just hand it out. Not because you're trying to help that person. Yeah, that's part of it. But it's more because you feel good just giving it away, knowing, and at first it's going to feel weird because you're going to think, I can't afford $20. You can afford $20, trust me. You probably spend more on like a takeout meal than with that $20 and the several opportunities you're going to have to hand that money out. So giving $1 out and just, here you go, I have this to give, enjoy. And just feel good giving, because if you can give, then automatically you're going to receive, because the universe wants to align you with that opportunity. So I hope this video has helped you. This is one of my first of many to come as far as dealing with manifestational law and law of attraction. It's way deeper than this. I think I've broken it down to like very basic, bare bones, so that you can understand the concept. I would suggest you watch The Secret. Remember, The Secret is almost like the introduction of a book that's like way thicker, and you're just reading the introduction thinking that that's it. It's way more than that. But I've covered the introduction in this book, I hope, in this video. So I hope this has helped you. Look it up if you haven't, and I can't wait for our next video. Talk to you next time. Bye.